Okay, good morning class. So today our topic is living organisms and their surrounding. That is your chapter number 10. Okay. Now, first of all, tell me what do you mean by living organisms? Living organisms basically found everywhere on earth. Okay. A living organism needs found everywhere on earth means the living organism needs food, shelter, water, everything. So every living thing, for example, plants, animals, human beings, even a bacteria is also included in a living organism. Clear? Because they all need food, shelter, everything. Clear, all of you? So living things, you can see over here, living organisms are found everywhere on earth. There are some pictures of living organisms. Now, living organisms, first of all, what is an environment? Basically, living organisms adapt themselves to a particular environment. You all know what is an environment. What is an environment? Everything which affects living organisms' life. Okay, everything which affects living organisms' life is an environment. Now, in environment, there are two types. That is biotic and abiotic. Clear? There are two components, that is biotic and abiotic. Now, what are included in a biotic components? Biotic components are the components which are living. For example, wait a minute. Now, if we talk about biotic components, okay, what is a biotic component? The living organisms. For example, animals, humans, birds, plants, they all are biotic components. Okay, and what do you mean by abiotic components? What do you mean by abiotic components? Now, abiotic component are the, for example, that affects our life. I told you, sun rays, you mean sunlight, okay, air, water, temperature, they are abiotic components. So biotic components are the living organisms, and abiotic components are the non-living organisms, but they all affect our life, right? They all are included in environment and they all affect our life, like animals, humans, birds, plants. They are indirectly dependent on each other. And abiotic, they are not living, but still we need it for survival. That is sunlight, air, water, temperature. Okay, so they all are a part of an environment. Why? Because they all are affecting our life. Clear? So living organisms, you can see over here, living organisms are found everywhere on earth. Now next, habitat. What is a habitat? You can see here, habitat is a place where you are living, and for the water, for your survival, which provides the complete need to you. A place where you are living, okay, for your survival, for your basic needs, that is a habitat. You can see the natural living place of an organisms. The natural living place of an organism is its habitat. Clear? So habitat is a place where you are living for the food, for the shelter, for the air, for the temperature and everything. So an organism depends on its habitat for the food, water, air, shelter, etc. That place is called its habitat. For example, a polar bear. Okay, polar bear lives on a very cold place. Why? Because that they feel comfortable over there with the food, with the water. Okay, we are living on a place right now. For example, we are living on a earth and on a land. So that is our habitat. Clear? Now, several kinds of organisms are found in a habitat. There are so many kinds of organisms, you all know, like human beings. Organisms means all type of living things which are living. A bacteria is also included in an organism. Okay, so the everything which are included in a which lives for their food, for their shelter, they all are included in a habitat. Clear? So what if question will come, what is a habitat? What you will write? Everything, a place where a living organism live or depends for its food, for the shelter, for the air, for the water. That is habitat. Clear? Now adaptation. What is adaptation? Adaptation is a special feature in a living organisms. Clear? A special feature in a living organism which enable them to live on a particular region. For example, a polar bear. If what happens if we take a polar bear and put that polar bear on a very in a desert, they cannot live because that is not its feature. Means they adapt themselves to a very cold place, right? So that is its adaptation. And if we talk about desert, camels live in a very hot and humid places in a desert, right? So if we take a camel and put it on a very cold place in the Arctic region, they can live? No, because they don't have the feature in their body to survive in a very cold region, right? So you can see over here the presence of special feature in or certain habits means they have some habits in their body so that they can live on a particular way, which enables a plant or an animal to live in its surroundings, is called its adaptation. So there is a huge difference between a habitat and an adaptation. What is that? A difference between habitat and adaptation. If we talk about habitat, it's a place. It's a place where a living organisms live. Okay, a place where a living organism lives and depends for their food, for their survival. And what is an adaptation? Special feature in their body. Special, which enable them to live in their surrounding. Okay, which enable them to live in their surrounding is called its adaptation. Clear? Next is now habitat. Terrestrial habitat. What do you mean by terrestrial habitat? The animals or the organisms which live on land. Okay, every living organism which live on land is included in terrestrial habitat. For example, if we talk about a camel, okay, camel, lion, they all live on a land. So they are all included in a terrestrial habitat. And the places which are included in this is a desert, forest, grasslands, mountains. These are the places which are included in a terrestrial habitat. And what is a terrestrial habitat? The animals which live on the habitat. If the habitat is land, means an animal who lives on land for their survival. Okay, for example, if we lion, elephant, tiger, they all live on land, so they are included in terrestrial habitat. And the places, these are the places which are included in terrestrial. Example, like for example, desert, okay, forest, grassland, mountain. So they all are terrestrial habitat. Clear? Next, desert. Now desert, you all know desert. If I take a name desert, which organism first come in your mind? Camel. And if we talk about plants, that is cactus, right? So these all are the organisms which come in your mind when I take a name that desert. The organisms, tell me the organism which live on a desert. So what you will say? Organisms, plants are also an organism because they live. They need all the organisms which stay, which respire, they eat anything which live on this land. So they organisms, cactus, desert will come in your mind first, right? Now these are the desert plants. These are the desert plant, that is cactus, agave and date palm. Now what are the special features in them? Okay, what are their adaptation? First of all, their spines. You can see on this picture, their leaves are in a spine like structure. Why? Their leaves are in a spine like structure. Why? Because you all know in a deserted area there is a very less amount of water is available on that area. So what they do, they just turn their leaves into spines. Okay, so this is the first adaptation. You can write that they turn their leaves into spines. Why? Because it helps in reduction of water, or you can say loss of water through transpiration. Now you all know what is a transpiration. I have told you in your previous class what is a transpiration. I have told you what is a transpiration. Transpiration is a process. For example, any plant is living. Okay, we are giving water to that plant. Now they are taking that water and the excess, they use very little water at the time of photosynthesis. What happens to the excess water? That excess water goes upward in a form of water vapor. So that process is called transpiration. Clear? That process is called transpiration. So now you all know that in a deserted area there is a very less amount of water available to that areas. Now what will happen if the transpiration process will go, the excess water will go away in a form of water vapor. So to reduce the chances of loss of water, what they do, they just turn their leaves into spines. It helps to store their water in themselves. Now they need water. Now there is a very less amount of water present on these area. What they do, they just store the water in themselves and helps in reducing their water through transpiration. So that's why their leaves, the deserted plants, they have leaves, their leaves are turned into spines. Clear? For example, cactus, agave, date palm, they all are included in a deserted plant. Okay, desert plants. See over here, plant desert. You can see this is written over here. I have told you that leaves are absent or reduced or modified into spines. Okay, to produce water loss by transpiration. This is how the leaves are turned into spines, so that through transpiration they will not lose their water. Okay, they can store their water in themselves. Next is adaptation of green plants. Now if we talk about cactus, you all know, for example, in aloe vera. Okay, when you cut an aloe vera, you can see a thicky fleshy part of their body. Why? Because they store food in them. Same like that with the cactus, you can see their leaves are turned into spines and they have a thick and waxy coating on it. Now they have a thick and fleshy leaf which is called succulent plants. The plants which have a thick and waxy stem, okay, thick and waxy stem which store food in themselves, they are called succulent plants. Now plants is green and does photosynthesis. You all know the plants, those are green in color, they obviously show photosynthesis process. Now stem stores water, and so they have a thick and fleshy stem. Clear? And the plants which have a thick and fleshy stem are called succulent plants. Clear? Next, deep root stem. Now deep root stem collect maximum water from the deep soil. They take excess water and excess soil and minerals from the deep soil and store in themselves. They have a thick and waxy layer. I've told you that they have a thick and waxy layer on stem which prevents the loss of water. Clear? Next, adaptation of desert animals. Camel have long legs. Now the animals, if we talk about animals, they have a long legs which keep their body away from the hot sand. Now you all know the camels live on a desert. Now their legs are so long. Their legs are long. Why? Because they protect their body from the extreme hot sand. Okay. Now they have a hump on their back. Why? They store food in that hump, and also they take a lot of water in the so that they can store the water in themselves. These are the adaptation of deserted animals. That camel has a long legs to keep the body away from a hot sand. That's why they have a very long legs. Clear? Next is it stores food as a fat in its hump. And it can store water. As you all know, there is a very less amount of water in a desert, so they store water in its body. Clear? They have a long eyelashes. Why they have a long eyelashes? So that when they walk on a desert, the sand will not come into their eyes. They will protect their eyes from the sand. Also, they have a hard fold on their legs, because you all know sand is very hot, so they cannot walk on a land, right? They cannot easily walk on a sand, so that's why they have a hard sole in their legs. So these are the adaptations. What are the adaptations I have told you? First one is camel have a legs to keep the body away from a hot sand. Second is they store food in its hump. Hump is this part. This is their hump. They store food because they don't get food for a very longer time. They don't get enough water for a long time. So what they do, they take a large amount of water and food in itself and store them in their body. Clear? Third, they have a long eyelashes and also have a hard sole on their legs, so that they can the eyes, they have a long eyelashes so that they protect their eyes from the sand. And secondly, they have a hard sole so that they can easily walk on a hot sand. Now there are so many animals that dug a hole on a sand and lives over there. They are called, these animals are called nocturnal animals. They are called nocturnal animals. What they do at the daytime, you all know in desert at a daytime there is a very hot climate, that is about 45 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius temperature at daytime. Okay, and in the night there is very cold weather. So at night they came out of their holes. Okay, and at the daytime what they do, they just dug a hole in a sand and stay there. These animals are called nocturnal animals. For example, rats, snakes. Okay. So some animals remain in burrows during the day and comes out during the night. They are called nocturnal animals. Now you can see in this picture, This is how they dug a hole and burrows in that and lives over there for the daytime and come out in the night. This is how. Okay, rat, snake, these are an examples of nocturnal animals. Now mountain regions. Second is mountain regions. Now mountain region, before this we have talked about the deserted plants, the terrestrial animals. Now mountain regions, now trees, the leaves of the plants which are present on the mountains have also turned their leaves into spines. Why? And they always grow on a sloping area. Why they have, always grow on a sloping area? Because it helps down when the snowfall will come, when the snow will come, what will happen? The snow will slide off from their leaves. Clear? Now their leaves are turned into spines. So mountain trees grow in a conical pattern. They always grow in a conical pattern, means in a mountainous, and they always grow on a mountains. Now you all know mountains have a very cold weather. Why? Because they are on a very high altitudes. Okay, so their leaves are turned into spines and they always grow in a conical pattern and have a sloping branches that helps that helps to to slide off the snow. Now see, they have a needle shaped leaves which helps water and snow to slide off from it. These are the leaves of a mountainous plants. Animals. Now animals, those who live in a mountainous regions, they have, if we talk about snow leopard, they are white in color so that they can hide themselves from their predators. Now what is a predator and what is a prey? Okay, what is the difference between predators and prey? Prey is a, predators are the hunters, you can say. Okay, hunters, you all know that tiger and tiger, lion, they have a huge demand, means they have a very, people hunt them most, right? So they are predators, so they have to hide themselves from their predators. So what they do, they have a white color on their body so that the snow leopard hide themselves on that snow from the predators. And prey means the person who hunts them. Okay, for example, you all know they are a carnivorous animal, so they for example, if they eat a deer, so that deer is its, sorry, this is a predator and this is a prey. Clear? So they have a thick fur on their body. It protects them from the extreme cold. Also they have a very sharp claws. Why? Because you all know there is a ice, means there is a slippery surface. So to get rid of them, to protect themselves, they have a very sharp claw so that they can stand straight on a surface of snow. Clear? Next is mountain goats. Mountain goats are also having a thick white fur which helps them to protect from the extreme cold. Also they have a special feature of running. Okay, they can run easily at a rocky slopes. If we talk about yak have a thick fur to protect from the severe cold in a winter. They all live in a mountain regions, and because of the higher altitude, the mountain regions have a cold climate every time. Now grassland. If third is grasslands. Lions live on a grassland. When I talk about grassland, what will first come in your mind? That is lion. They have a brown color. Why? So that they can hide themselves from their predators on that grasslands. Second, light brown color helps to hide them in a grassland. They have a long claws so that they can, you all know they are a carnivorous animal, so that they can easily tear off the flesh of the other animals. and both the eyes are on the front of the lion, so that they have a wide vision. Okay, wide vision means they can see for the things or their prey for at a very longer distance. So both the eyes in front of the head gives correct idea about the location of its prey. Clear? These are their adaptation and features. Next is a deer. Now deer have the eyes on their forehead, you can say, on their side, so they have a very wide vision. Also they can run faster to escape from the predators. For example, I've given you an example. The lion is a carnivorous animal. Okay, so when they go they see a prey, so this is a prey means their food, and that is a predator. That lion is a predator, so they can run fast. Now they have a special feature that they can run fast to escape from the predators. Now they have a strong chewing hard stem. They have a strong teeth so that they can easily chew the grasses. Third, long ears to hear the movement of a predators. Their ears are very big and they have they can hear very slow sound even, so that they can escape themselves from the predator. Second, eyes on the side of the head allows to look in all the direction from the danger. Okay, they have eyes on the side of their neck so that they can see the wide range of, they have a wide range of vision. Next is, this is here, now here the difference between a predator and prey. A predator eats the prey, the hunter is a predator. So this is a hunter, means this is a predator, and the one who is being hunted by a predator is a prey. So this is a prey. Clear? Next is aquatic habitat. Now if we talk about aquatic habitat, first of all, what is an aquatic places? Aquatic, for the oceans, the lakes, rivers, okay, seas, they all come in an aquatic habitat. So first, if we talk about an aquatic organism or aquatic plant, what will come in your mind? Fishes. Okay, now fishes have a special adaptation. They have a streamlined body. Also they have a fish scales in their body. Fish scale, what is a fish scales? They have, now you all know, if something we put something on a water for a very longer time, it will get started damaging. So that's why on the body of a fish there is a fish scale present which protect their body from damaging. Also they have a streamlined body. Okay, they have a streamlined body so that they can swim easily in a water. Also you all know that they breathe through their gills. They don't have lungs, they breathe through the gills. Okay, streamline, that is boat shaped body for the easy movement in a water. Also gills for respiration, and body is protected by the scales. If we talk about sharks and dolphins, now they don't have they don't have gills. They respire through their nostrils, means they have lungs in their body. Now nostrils are present on their head. Nostrils, you can see in this picture, the nostrils are present on their hand. What they do, they just came out of the water. Okay, from the water they take a breath and just go down in the water. So dolphin and whales have nostrils to breathe air from the atmospherical blowholes. Okay, you all, the way I've told you that they don't have gills, they have nostrils on the top of their head. Clear? Now ponds and lakes. If we talk about ponds and lakes, what are the other aquatic animals? That is a lotus and Vallisneria. Now how they live, you all know that all plants need soil. Their roots are joined deep down in a soil. Okay, their roots are fixed in a soil. Also the plants, they are in a leaf-like manner. Clear? They are in a boat-like manner. The leaves of these plants in a boat-like manner, they float on a water. Clear? They float on a water. These are the floating plants. Floating plants means, now there are two types of aquatic plants. That is the floating plant, and second one is the submerged plant. So these are the floating plants, that is Salvinia, water hyacinth and pistia, means they float on the water, you can easily see them. Okay, but the plants which are submerged means they submerge inside the water. They live inside the water. So these are the floating plants, that is Salvinia, lotus, water hyacinth, and pistia. And second, in Vallisneria, if we talk about Vallisneria, their leaves are in a ribbon-like manner so that they are protected from uprooted. Okay, why? Because their stems are deep inside and they are fixed to the soil inside. Clear? Now stems is hollow. Stem of lotus is hollow. These are their stems. They are hollow and also light weighted. Their leaves and their whole body is very light weighted so that they can float easily on a water. Second, their leaves are in a disc-like manner. You can see in this picture. These are disc-like manner. Also, they can, so that they can easily float on a water. Secondly, leaves have a waxy coating to prevent water from stagnation. As I told you, if we put something for a very long time in a water, what will happen? They start damaging. So that's why they have a very waxy coating on their leaves so that it prevents from the stagnation. Leaf stalk is filled with air. Their leaves are filled with air so that they can easily float on a water. Now hydrilla is a submerged plant which lives inside a water, which grows inside a water only. That is hydrilla plant, you can see. Now if we talk about frogs, frogs is also an aquatic animal. That is, they can breathe in a water and also lives on a land. You all know they live in a water as well as they live on a land. Secondly, they have a webbed feet. This is a webbed feet so that they can easily jump. Okay, they can easily jump. Also, they have a long back. Their legs are very long and they have a long back so that they can easily hopping. Means you all know what is a hopping, right? So strong back legs to take off leaves. Also, they have a sticky tongue. You can see they have a sticky tongue and a long tongue so that they can easily catch their prey. You all know they eat insects. Okay, so that they can easily catch their prey. Next is characteristic. Now what are the characteristics of living organism? All the living organism needs food in the source of energy. If we talk about humans, we also need food. Why? Because it gives us energy. So this is the first characteristic of living organisms. Okay. Second is living things grow. You all know, if you see yourself, okay, you was a very little infant boy. You start growing because of the food only, because of the nutrients you are getting. You are growing slowly. So every living thing grow. If we talk about a plant also grow. Okay, animals, human beings. Sorry. Now living things respire. They respire in different way, but every living thing respire. For example, if I talk about fishes respire through their gills, right? Human beings with their lungs. Okay, so both plants and animals do respiration. During respiration, oxygen is used. You all know, we take oxygen and release carbon dioxide. So oxygen is used and carbon dioxide is released. Living things respond to stimuli. Respond to stimuli means, for example, if I pinch you, okay, what will happen? You will react on it. Why? Because you feel and react. So stimuli is I am pinching you, and respond, you are reacting on it. You are just take your hands back. Okay, that is a response to stimuli. For example, insects are attracted by light. Okay, when a light will glow, what will happen? All the insects come and stick on that area. So that means that they respond to stimuli. Stimuli is the glowing of a bulb, and they started attracting on that. That means every living thing respond to stimuli. Plants also respond to light. For example, some flowers like water lily blooms at night and lotus blooms in a daylight. Clear? Now leaves of touch me not plant drops when touched. I've given this example. When you touch the leaves of a touch me not plant, what will happen? They will get shrink. Why? Because they respond to stimuli. You are touching them, they can feel and they are reacting on it. So when you are touching it, that is a stimuli, and they shrink their leaves. So that is a respond. Clear? So these are the characteristics of living organisms. that they respond to stimuli, they respire, they need food, they grow. Also, we have talked about the environment, what is adaptation, what is a habitat. Clear? So these are the things we have talked about in this chapter, that living things, what is the difference between a habitat, what is the difference between a habitat and adaptation. Habitat is a place or a point where living organism completely can depend on for their food, for their shelter. Secondly, adaptation is the special feature which enable them to live on a particular area or a region. Clear? Now, environment. In environment, I have told you about 2 points, that is biotic and abiotic. Biotic components and abiotic components both are necessary for the survival. Biotic components means the components which are the living organisms, which everything affects our life. Okay, that is an environment. Now, the environment is distributed in 2 parts, that is biotic and abiotic. Biotic components includes every living organism, that is animal, human beings, plants, everything. Okay, and abiotic components which affects our life, that is sunlight, water, air, they all came in a abiotic components. After that, we have talked about the different adaptation of animals, camels, that is terrestrial. What is terrestrial? Areas or regions, the animals which live on a land, they come in a terrestrial areas or terrestrial bodies, right? If we talk about aquatic regions, aquatic animals means when any organisms lives in a water. Clear? So that is an aquatic animal or aquatic organism, aquatic regions. Mountainous regions we have talked about. Mountainous regions means the animals or plants which live on a very higher altitude. Okay, their higher altitude means the temperature is very low over there, so that's why the temperature is very cold, right? Next is we have talked about aquatic animals, that is dolphins and everything, right? Dolphins, if we talk about dolphins, dolphins and whales, they have a strong back. They have a strong back, also they have a nostrils on their head. They do not respire through their gills. Okay, so that's they live on water. They normally respire just the way a human being respire. Clear? Gills. But the fish, if we talk about animals and gills, they live or they respire through the gills. So this is all for this chapter. After this, thank you all of you.